Cybersecurity is obviously playing a huge role in our daily life, but particularly when it comes to wire transfers and the national as well as international payment systems. With us is Israel Reyes. He's an expert in cybersecurity, and he's with us today. Israel, good morning. How are you?
Very good. Good morning.
Israel,
Thank
good
you very
morning.
much.
Why do I get a sense when I'm listening to the statements made by the Bank of Mexico, by the governor of Bank of Mexico, we really don't have the full story of what happened. I don't know if anybody gets a sense.
He seems pretty cool, but
there is
860 million pesos are missing, right? That's about 40 million.
So
45 million
why don't we just go to the basics? Why don't we try to explain what happened? Because I think it's much serious than we're being led to believe. What happened?
Absolutely. Well, this is a really strong concern of what's happening because the communication must be encrypted from point to point.
From one bank to another bank.
From
right.
the bank to the SAPI, which is the part. Now, if someone
it's a hub and spoke system.
That's right.
So
correct.
the banks are the spokes, and at the hub is SPEI, which belongs to the Banco de Mexico, which is, the Mexico Central Bank, and has to go through, correct?
Exactly. And that point-to-point should be encrypted. Now, if someone sniff, and I'm an outsider, which is working for a company, putting a software which is working as a part of the bank, and I can listen the channel and introduce myself there, and have the ability to modify the data and to create an account, well, that is a really concern.
This is a really interesting graph. I know it's in Spanish, so we apologize. But we have on the left side Bank 1 and Bank 2, and you have Bank 1 transferring money to Bank 2, and it has to go through the central system, the SPEI system, as Agustin was describing. But something happens between Bank 1 and Bank 2. Instead of going to the middle, to the SPEI system, someone, a hacker, I see that red circle, comes in and is able to take out the money or...
Well, what is able to see is to sniff the package, see the package, see where they are going,
When
and then
you
be
say
able
package,
to go.
it's a data packet.
It's a data packet.
Right.
That's right. So they were able to see in that red spot to go into the channel, see where it's going, go to the database, create an account, and start to create and move money from accounts to another account.
But stop there. Does that mean there's someone in, I don't know...
It's an inside job?
Well, is it an inside job, or is it someone outside who basically has a little computer and they can actually go into the SPEI system and they can order Bank 1 to send money to Bank through, and they intervene through the SPEI? Where are the hackers?
Well, what happened is that the Bank 1 was okay, but they were using services and software of a provider. And the provider was the one that was compromised, the provider. So the provider...
Do we know that already? This is
we know
confirmed?
that. So they get compromised, they listen to the channel, and they go to the databases and change and create the accounts. Now, the concern here, yes, there is a lot of money missing, but the other concern is what about the privacy of the data? I mean, if they were able to create an account, they possibly were able to get a copy of
Israel,
that database.
stop. They created fake accounts, or are these real accounts?
Well, this is what we don't know for sure, and that's what the team is working, which is also a concern because the statements that they have said that they will create a unit of cybersecurity
at the Bank of
Mexico, which I'm surprised that they didn't have it before. And well, I
is
will
that
say,
the reason why the director of payments at the Bank of Mexico was fired? The woman that we were seeing
well,
on the video?
she resigned, and I believe so. That was the reason.
But
yes.
But this issue of the bank account, because there's a question mark as to whether because I saw some reports that these were already bank accounts that were already there and that were used by people who outside would be going to the cash machines and taking out cash. So, I mean, that sounds like we're talking about hundreds of people involved in this.
That's right. Well, they say also that they create an accounts to a false accounts with false identities. And that is a really concern because we have the privacy data. Maybe they copy all the data. So yes, there is money, but there is also personal identifiable information. And that is the problem. And what I see here is like, the banks sometimes they don't release all the information about the attacks because there is not in the best interest of the community because you lost confidence if something's happened there. So what we need to do here, we need to work with the government. We need to have a better process and procedures to be more proactive to respond to these cyber attacks because cyber attack is so complex in the nature. You can be secure but always 85% of the times, an insider gap will give you the cyber attack.
So it appears that there had to be some insiders in some of these banks, and not in all of them, but at least in some of the banks.
Or third-party suppliers, which is what Israel was saying.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's right. And let's go to see what happened in Pentagon in the United
Right.
States. With a flash drive, with a USB drive, was put it in a computer from a classified network, and
Right.
that's enough. So the
Right.
same thing can happen here. That's why we need to have a program of education and training to the users and to the employees of the bank to understand what is the
Do you
risk.
think that this was a problem, that that they were negligent? Because it's hard for me to imagine, because the banking system, and I have to say here and all over the world, because I speak with them and I've had conferences with them, and they're the most, they're right. I mean, they're very organized.
Very
they
rock
count
solid.
very rock solid.
Very
Pennies. I mean, so that's why it surprises me that we have a situation where millions and millions of, let's just say in dollars, literally just disappeared because someone from outside was able to somehow interfere in the transfer payment system.
Well, this is the challenge of the cyberspace, that we're living in this cyberspace, and yes, you are a bank, but you have a limited resources. Maybe you have 1,000 employees, but the way you are exposed to the outside world, there is no jurisdiction, there is no borders. And how many hackers are in the world? Are thousands and thousands.
Israel, we're going to talk to you again at the second hour of the show in Spanish, but we have to say, and we're going to, if you are, as of Monday, the Bank of Mexico is imposing new restrictions in terms of how much money you can take out in cash and how fast this money can be transferred. So if you are one of those, if you're a business person, you're watching us today, you may want to check as what is happening as a money.
New regulations.
Yeah, the
Yes,
new
new
regulations.
regulation.
Israel, we'll see you in an hour. Thank you so much
Exactly.
for joining
Thank you very
us.
much.
Thank you very much.